One of the best known women in the history of mankind, her name is famous to this day. Cleopatra, born in 69 BC in the city of Alexandria, founded by Alexander the Great on the edge of the River Nile Delta. She was very cunning and determined and owned a gigantic fortune. Even though she is known for her wits and beautiful demeanor, everybody knows Cleopatra met with an unfortunate end. Are her beauty and her wits the only thing about her? Or did she have a dark side that many people did not know? Was she one of the first ever manipulating evils to exist in the history of time? In today's episode of History Tea Time, we're going to discuss some weird things you didn't know about the Queen of Beauty, Cleopatra. Click on the like button, subscribe and turn on notifications for more sips of fascinating history. The talks about Cleopatra's beauty are as prevalent in today's time as it was when she was alive. It became even more significant after the amazingly talented Elizabeth Taylor played her in the movie called Cleopatra. She turned heads wherever she went, and she even managed to gain the attention of leaders like Mark Antony and Julius Caesar. However, historians of her time such as Plutarch looked past her beauty. In the book Life of Antony, which was released in 79 BC, the historian wrote, "Her actual beauty was not so remarkable that none could be compared with her, or that no one could see her without being struck by it. But the contact of her presence was irresistible. The character that attended all she said or did was something bewitching." It is clear from his testimony of the Queen that she herself valued her charms above her looks, and made use of them. She was a beauty with brains. She had studied history, geography, medicine, alchemy, economics, mathematics, and every subject you probably didn't like doing in your college. She was also fluent in 9 languages and could hold her conversations very, very well. She had the wits and she had the jest. She knew it and she used them. Hence, she was very hard to ignore. Her beauty played a big hand in her political image, and to uphold it, she took a lot of measures. She was considered to be the incarnation of the Egyptian goddess Isis. Her beauty not only helped her sway political leaders, but helped her have her handle on power. She established her divinity by being very good at administration, something which her brothers did not inherit. Cleopatra was very well aware of keeping her image as a goddess and a heavenly body. Have you seen modern women brand themselves by establishing their presence through beauty makeup lines? Selena Gomez with Rare and Ariana Grande's with REM Beauty. Well, they were taking a leaf out of Cleopatra's book. She had her own perfume factory by the Dead Sea, near Ein Gedi. Since she herself was an expert in alchemy, she believed that her perfumes could control minds and use them in her persuasion tactics. When a woman is this submerged in her beauty and its prowess, it's a given that she'll be afraid of getting older. Even though she was into older and more powerful men, Cleopatra was absolutely scared of turning old. She could never get Botox or surgery as modern women do, but as a queen, she enjoyed a lot of privileges. Her beauty regimes rivaled the likes of other wonderful queens in history, and a commoner could never imagine having the luxury of the things that she enjoyed. Modern women of today would be scared and would never have the energy to do what she did every morning. Her bath was filled with 700 donkeys passing through lactation. This sounds too creepy to us, but it was a norm to her, since donkey milk was considered a very strong de-aging agent in her times. Click on the like button, subscribe and turn on notifications for more sips of fascinating history. Goddess of healing and magic, the Great Mother Isis was an important ancient Egyptian goddess. She became even more important after the alliance between Egypt and Rome. From Afghanistan to England, Isis was known everywhere. Being considered the reincarnation of Isis was a huge honor, and it gave her even more importance in matters of power. Pharaohs being considered divine entities was a norm in ancient Egypt, so Cleopatra took matters into her own hands and announced she was the new Isis. She was to be recognized as the earthly personification of the goddess. She told her subjects that she was an object of worship. It was ironic because not only was she not related to old Egyptian families, she wasn't even Egyptian. Cleopatra descended from the family of Ptolemy I, a general of Alexander the Great. The nation was ruled by Ptolemy for 300 years, and all of them followed Greek customs. It was not easy for Cleopatra to gain power, as not only was she related to Ptolemaica, but she was also a woman. It is believed she must have been the first Ptolemy to learn Egyptian languages such as Coptic, even though it was with huge overconfidence that she attempted to portray herself as Isis. She was widely accepted by her subjects. Considering oneself to be a goddess is creepy, even though it was done in earlier times. Egyptians were huge fans of keeping their genes within themselves. Even though the rulers of Ptolemy dynasty were not great on the upkeep of following Egyptian customs, one of the few things they agreed upon was having 2 great-grandparents instead of 16. Cleopatra was merely 14 when she lost her mother to unknown circumstances. Since her brothers were too small, Ptolemy XII, her father, appointed her to administer the state. She ruled alongside her father and learned all the skills of the trade, namely the regency. After her father's death, his will put her in a weird position. It was requested that she be married to her 10-year-old brother. Cleopatra was a strong woman, and as soon as she entered the marriage, she had made it clear that she was not going to share her powers with anyone. She was making history, as none of her predecessors had dared to go against their male counterparts, but she was hell-bent on doing so. She erased her little brother's face from all the official records and sanctioned that only her face would appear on the minted coins during her reign. Her quest for power hit a brick wall when she decided to support the Syrians over Rome. The Romans went and backed the young teenage king in gaining powers of the kingdom. She was dethroned and was forced to flee. Cleopatra had to run away with her sister Arsinoe IV, who was unwilling to cooperate with her on levels since their relationship was sour as sisters. At one point, Cleopatra believed Arsinoe was plotting to kill her. On the other hand, her younger brother was not faring well as the ruler of the kingdom. Ptolemy XIII, as an 11-year-old, managed to execute Pompey in front of his wife and children. Julius Caesar was extremely offended, and the young king died in the River Nile when he was running away from the forces of his sister and Caesar. Once again, to follow tradition, she had to marry another one of her younger brothers. Since she was having an affair with Caesar and bore him a son, she had her brother murdered so her son could rule instead of him. Cleopatra was thirsty for control, and in the name of power, even killing her siblings was effortless for her. Earlier we discussed how Plutarch called Cleopatra bewitching. Was she bewitching, or was she a master manipulator? Cleopatra was a master at keeping men under her thumb and easily influencing them into doing things they normally would not. She did not have Caesar's and Antony's backing because she was offering them sex, but rather it was her smartness and wit that enchanted these men. Antony met her for the first time while she was dressed as Aphrodite, and to Caesar she showed herself while she was hiding in a carpet. Caesar was so enchanted by her that he ordered the creation of her statue, which was to be put in the temple of Venus, GENETRIX. Unlike Egyptians who considered their rulers to be divinity, the Romans did not believe in this concept. It was very mischievous of Caesar to perform this action, yet he still went with it. Antony, upon seeing her in the get-up of a Greek goddess, decided to put his invasion on hold just for the sake of spending a winter alone with her in Alexandria. Him and Cleopatra were party buddies and also had their own wine club. They are believed to have been enjoying the spoils of wine while Rome was burning. One time, Cleopatra put all her jewellery inside vinegar and drank the dissolved liquid simply because she had won a bet against Antony. Her jewellery could be worth $10 million today. While she was doing this, her men were fighting in the name of her queen and Antony in Rome. Cleopatra had an ugly side to her that in fact cancels out her beauty. Was the most beautiful woman in history really that pretty, or was she just smart and cunning? Tell us in the comments below. Like this video? Well, click on subscribe and don't forget to share this with your friends. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.